Hi folks, this is Steve from the Pistol Place and welcome to this video review of the Heaven M84. This is a replica based on the Beretta 84 FS produced by Heaven, Taiwanese distributor. Unlike most of the replicas that I review on the Pistol Place, this is a fairly simple non-blowback 6mm BB shooter powered by CO2. Let's have a look at it. You can see that it has a very nice finish. It's either polished alloy or plated, I'm not sure which, but the overall finish is very good indeed. Looks very strong, no wear on it so far. I must admit I'd like to see more pistols finished like this. Most nickel finished pistols seem to have a very dull finish, but this one, it looks particularly nice. Let's have a look over the pistol generally. The version here was supplied by Heaven for review and it has almost no markings on it. Now I don't know if that's typical of what will be sold. Certainly this one, the only markings we have are a Wingun logo on the grip. I'm presuming this is manufactured by Wingun on behalf of Heaven. On the right side of the slide, I think you can probably see the F mark for the German market. And there is a serial number. It's quite difficult to see. Hopefully you can see that there is a serial number there. Not sure if it's a unique serial number or not, but nice to see a serial number. Because of the design of this pistol, it has fairly limited functionality. The slide doesn't move, it's cast as part of the body. Even the hammer is cast in place, it doesn't move. The only functioning controls are the safety on the rear of the frame. It's an ambidextrous safety. With the safety in safe position, the trigger is disconnected, so it has no effect. Fire position, you have the red dot available. The only other working control is the magazine release, which, surprisingly enough, releases the magazine. The slide release on the left side and the takedown lever on the right are cast in place and don't actually have any function, though the castings are quite sharp and they look fairly convincing. Nice to see them included there. Magazine is, let's have a look, 6mm BBs on this version. The magazine has a locking follower, which I like. Locks down, BBs are fed into this loading port at the back here. Only takes 11 6mm BBs, so fairly restricted capacity. The magazine is all metal, as is the base plate, which is nice to see. As is almost the whole gun, and one of the things that's very noticeable about this pistol is that it has very good weight. It's actually a hefty pistol. Feels even more so because of its small size, but when you first pick it up, it really does feel quite good. It's a CO2 powered replica. CO2 is stored inside the grip and is accessed by removing the left side grip, CO2 chamber in there, and we have a tightening hex screw at the bottom there. So either tighten with a hex screw, or it does come with a plastic tab which you can use to tighten as well. The design of this replica is similar to some other 6mm replicas that I've seen, in that it has a moving inner barrel. So when you pull the trigger, the inner barrel moves forward. When it gets as far forward as it's going to go, it springs back, hits the firing valve, and actually causes the pistol to fire. What that does mean is it's a double action only trigger. It's a fairly long pull and it's moderately heavy, though I have to say it's not as bad as some pistols I've come across that use this system. You can see that as you pull the trigger, the back inner barrel appears at the front and then springs back just before it fires. So it's, well, as I say, most of the replicas I review here are fairly complex blowback replicas with full functionality. This is back to a much simpler type of pistol. I've got to say in some ways it's quite refreshing to find something that is this simple. Stick in the BBs, put in CO2 and you're good to go. Just pull the trigger until it runs out of puff. Quite nice. Let's have a quick look at how the M84 actually shoots. Okay, hopefully as you saw there, the M84 is a reasonable shooter. It's not going to win any prizes for accuracy, but then that isn't really what it's intended for. This is a plinker. It's for knocking down soda cans or targets or whatever it is you want to shoot it with. The accuracy is made more difficult by the fairly long double action only trigger. Again, that's just a part of this design of pistol. There's not much you can do, and during that long trigger pull it is quite difficult to maintain the sights on target. The sights themselves are really pretty rudimentary. Notch in post, quite small, non-adjustable. Because they are finished in, cast in the same silver as the rest of the pistol, it can be quite difficult to see the sights against a light coloured background. Overall, it's a nice shooter. In fact, there's a number of things that I like about it, maybe one or two things I'm not so keen on in this replica. What don't I like? The limited functionality, obviously. I do like pistols that have full functionality. In this one, the slide is fixed in place, the slide release doesn't work, even the hammer can't be cocked for single action shooting. The magazine capacity is quite small, 11 BBs is one of the smallest capacity magazines I've come across recently. It's not a huge issue. I mean, 11 shots is reasonable before you have to reload, though it is smaller than most other replicas that are around. The double action only trigger pull. It definitely is an issue if you're trying to shoot accurately, but then again, I guess that's not really what this is for, is it? It's more of a plinker than a target shooter. What do I like about it? I think the finish looks absolutely superb. If you read articles on the pistol place, you'll be aware that finish is something that I mention fairly frequently, and so many replicas have really very poor finish and finish that wears very quickly. This not only looks good, it appears to be quite durable. There's certainly been no wear to this example here, and I wish we could see more replicas finished like this. Looks nice, and it looks like it might last. I like the weight of this pistol. I was surprised by the weight of it when I picked it up. It feels very convincing. It's very close to the weight of the original firearm, and it really feels like a chunky, hefty pistol when you pick it up. The M84 has very nice design, so it grips comfortably. Well, it certainly fits my hands very well. I suspect that most people would be able to find a comfortable grip with this pistol. I kind of came to like the fact that this is such a simple replica. There's very little here to worry about when you're shooting. You basically just load the BBs and CO2 and pull the trigger. And while initially I was disappointed by the lack of functionality, I actually came to quite like that. If you just want to shoot a few Coke cans or whatever it is, then this is a good pistol for doing that. I also suspect that it would be quite reliable simply because it is so simple. It seems robustly made. There isn't much to go wrong here. I would guess that this one will probably last quite well. So yeah, it's not as detailed in terms of functionality as a lot of the other pistols I reviewed on the site. It perhaps isn't as accurate as some pistols that I've reviewed on the site. But despite that, if you're looking for a simple, fun plinker, you could do a lot worse than the Heaven M84. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the review.